Hey class, welcome to week 4. If you looked ahead in the content for this week, you'll see there are 3 videos. This first one is the shortest and it is just the overview of what you'll be doing in the week. You'll see the other video is going to be longer, but it is a very important video. That one is going to be giving you critique and general feedback for the assignment that you just turned in, your exercise for a basic news story. And I will also be going over the content that you're going to be reading and learning this week as far as lead and story structure, how writing a lead and story structure. So I'm going to show you some examples. So I say that because the next video in this lecture here, it's an important one. It's one that you might need to really focus, take the time, watch, rewatch, especially as you start to write your assignments. A lot of the foundational skills will be set in that video, will be talked about in that video. And then the last video is in assignments, and that is going over your assignments for this week. And that video is going to be a little bit longer too, because you have your first writing assignment where you're actually going out doing your own reporting. It's going to take a few weeks, as I'll go over in the video. You have a few weeks to do it, but it is your first story. We're now taking everything that you've been learning and we're going to apply it in your first written journalistic story. So let's get right into just the overview. You're reading chapter 7 and 8, but you do not need to read pages 125 through 134 in chapter 7. Nothing in the quiz will be in those pages. Could be helpful for you, and if you are someone who wants to get into journalism, I say read as much, learn as much as you can, so certainly feel free to do that. But as far as what you need for this class, as far as what you need to know for the quizzes and in your own writing style, you will not be having to use any information within there. We are going this week to be talking about leads, which you had an introduction to when you wrote your exercise last week, your basic news story. You wrote that first attempt at a lead, but this is going to have a whole chapter dedicated to it because it's that important. And I will go over that also in my other video. And then the organization of your story. What is the formula for a news story? We'll be talking about, or the book will be talking about that, and I will talk about that in my video as well. Read the example of a hard news story. So that's down here. I've got actually 2. One will be just focused on a lead and a nut graph, and one is on this one right here. This is the example I'll be going over in the next video. So the video will go over, but it's also good for you after you watch the video to reread this yourself and start to see how it's broken down and try to make sure you can remember, story structure and the lessons that you're learning. Especially after you finish the chapter, you might want to reread this and start to see how it was applied in this story. I use that story as an example because I think it is a good illustration of the formula that we're learning for making a news story. You should be used to this now. You're taking the quiz by the end of the week, and you will also begin your hard news story, which will not be due at the end of the week, but I have a whole video explaining what your assignment is, and I'll go over that, and you'll have to start it this week to stay on track. All right, so everything else will be in the other videos here. You can see I'm going to cover this in the next video, and then assignments, you'll have your separate video. So I'll get right into that right now.